Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is gearing up to introduce Metal Sonic as its next major villain, but the Knuckles TV show may have also set the stage for Shadow's next big opponent. In Sonic the Hedgehog 3's post-credit scene, we got our first look at Metal Sonic, who in this version leads an army of robotic copies that attacked Sonic. Thankfully, Amy Rose made her grand entrance, saving the day with her Piko Piko Hammer and wiping out the mechanical threats. This moment not only introduced two key characters, but also hinted that Sonic CD would be a major inspiration for the next film. However, Paramount has been known to take creative liberties with the game's stories, making the movies anything but predictable. A perfect example of this was Knuckles, which introduced Pachacamac as a spirit guide instead of the antagonist he was in Sonic Adventure. These unexpected twists make it hard to guess when and how the next major Sonic character will appear, but Knuckles may have just confirmed the arrival of Shadow's next big adversary. In Knuckles, we were introduced to a mysterious fire demon, which turned out to be an important part of the Echidna's backstory. Episode 4 revealed that Knuckles once fought and defeated this creature, stealing its power, known as the Flames of Disaster. This ability allows him to coat his fists in fire, something he displayed both in the show and during the events of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, while the fire demon was shown as a puppet with glowing red eyes and mouth. A nearby painting of the creature depicted it with green eyes instead, an interesting detail that makes it look a lot like Iblis, the fire-based monster from 2006's Sonic the Hedgehog. In the games, Iblis was a catastrophic force that led to a ruined future and was even referred to as the Flames of Disaster, the exact name of Knuckles' new ability. With Knuckles possibly setting up Iblis as part of the movie universe, it opens the door for an even bigger threat, one that has a direct connection to Shadow. Iblis is one half of Solaris, a powerful sun god worshipped in Soleanna, and his other half is none other than Mephiles the Dark. In Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Mephiles was a villain who took on the form of Shadow's shadow, mirroring him in both appearance and his own twisted plans for world dominance. His goal was to reunite with Iblis, who had been sealed within Princess Elise, so that together they could reform as Solaris. Mephiles was one of Shadow's most personal enemies, tormenting him with the idea that humanity would eventually betray him. In the end, Shadow and Silver traveled back in time and erased Mephiles from history, causing everyone to forget he ever existed. However, in Sonic X Shadow Generations, Mephiles made a comeback as a boss, still aware of his past, and once again trying to regain his existence. If he could return in the games, there's no reason he couldn't make his way into the movie universe, especially with Iblis already lurking in the background. If Mephiles does appear in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, time travel could be the key to bringing him into the story. His origins in the games were deeply tied to time travel, and the Sonic CD Time Stones, objects that allow for time manipulation, could serve as the perfect way to reintroduce him. Since Sonic CD is likely to be a major influence on the fourth movie, it wouldn't be a stretch for the Time Stones to play a role in setting up Shadow's next villain. If the film takes cues from Sonic 06, it could establish Mephiles as an entity that's been lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Of course, with Iblis's backstory already altered in the Knuckles show, the movie might tweak Mephiles' origins as well. He could still be connected to Shadow, but without relying too heavily on the fire demon, allowing for a more focused conflict between the two. While Metal Sonic is set to be the main villain of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, the introduction of time travel elements could be the perfect way to tease Mephiles' arrival. The movie could lay the groundwork for his eventual debut, setting up a future storyline where he becomes the central antagonist. This could also pave the way for a potential Shadow spin-off or even a full Sonic the Hedgehog sequel where Shadow takes center stage. Given how closely Mephiles is tied to Shadow's story, it feels like only a matter of time before he makes his move. With Iblis already established in the movie universe, his darker half is likely not far behind. Sonic's cinematic universe has been steadily expanding, introducing classic characters in a way that keeps longtime fans engaged while still making the story accessible to newcomers. Each film has brought in new elements from the games, but with a fresh twist that makes them feel unpredictable. If Sonic the Hedgehog 4 successfully adapts Sonic CD while setting up Mephiles' introduction, it could lead to one of the most exciting and ambitious chapters in the franchise. Whether that means a massive showdown with Metal Sonic, an epic battle between Shadow and Mephiles, or even the first hints of a Sonic 06 inspired storyline, the possibilities are endless. At this point, it's clear that Paramount is playing the long game with the Sonic movies. They're not just adapting the games directly, but weaving a larger narrative that slowly builds toward bigger threats. With Shadow's arc just beginning and new villains waiting in the wings, the future of Sonic's cinematic universe is looking brighter than ever. If Sonic the Hedgehog 4 pulls off the right balance of action, character development, and game-inspired storytelling, it could set up an incredible next phase for the franchise. On the flip side, let's not forget that Sonic the Hedgehog 4 needs to introduce Super Knuckles next. One natural way for the Sonic movies to continue expanding the lore around the Super States is by allowing other characters beyond Sonic and Shadow to use the Chaos Emeralds. While both of them could still tap into this power, audiences have already seen their transformations. If Sonic 4 wants to keep things fresh, it needs to bring in a new super character. While Amy Rose is a possibility now that she's been introduced in Sonic 3, Super Knuckles is an even stronger choice. Most characters in the Sonic universe have the potential to go super, and Knuckles is no exception. His first transformation happened in Sonic and Knuckles, where his super form turned him pink and enhanced his already impressive strength. The games have shown that Knuckles can either activate this state on his own using the Chaos Emeralds or receive energy from Sonic. Either of these methods could work in Sonic 4 to finally bring Super Knuckles to the big screen. Knuckles' super state wouldn't just be a fun power-up, it would tie directly into his character arc. Since Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Knuckles' story has revolved around the Master Emerald, and his duty to protect it was reinforced in his spin-off series. In Sonic 3, he initially hid its location from Sonic, but ultimately allowed him to use its power against Shadow. Moving into Sonic 4, Knuckles should still be the Master Emerald's guardian, but this time, the stakes could be higher than ever. If Sonic 4 presents a threat so great that even Knuckles feels compelled to use the Master Emerald's power himself, it would be a huge moment. Having him choose to embrace his super form after previously being so protective of the Emerald's energy would show his growth. It wouldn't just be about defending the Emerald anymore, it would be about using its power to protect the entire world and those he cares about. This shift would add weight to his decision and make his transformation into Super Knuckles a powerful and emotional moment. Apart from its narrative importance, Super Knuckles would also be an exciting way for Sonic 4 to raise the stakes. Sequels always aim to go bigger, and Sonic 3 already delivered a high-energy climax with Super Sonic, Super Shadow, a Robotnik showdown, and a moon-slicing laser. Topping that won't be easy, but introducing more super characters could help maintain the excitement. Super Knuckles wouldn't need to be the central focus of Sonic 4, but his transformation would still be a huge deal for fans. Players who have experienced the games have been waiting for this moment, and the movies have already teased Knuckles' raw strength with his fists of fury. However, that ability has yet to be fully utilized, and Super Knuckles would be the perfect way to take it to the next level. With Sonic 3 already featuring a Super Sonic and Super Shadow team-up, adding Super Knuckles would be the logical next step. It would solidify the idea that multiple characters can harness the Chaos Emerald's power, and would ensure that at least 3 members of Team Sonic get their moment to shine. The film could even introduce Super Amy Rose or Super Tails, depending on how the story unfolds. Speaking of Sonic 3, its post-credits scene set up 2 major new characters, Metal Sonic and Amy Rose. While brief, This reveal made it clear that Sonic 4 will continue expanding the Sonic universe, and Metal Sonic's introduction hints at a major shift in the franchise's direction. Unlike previous versions of the character, this Metal Sonic isn't just a single opponent. He's part of an entire army. Seeing Sonic initially face off against Metal Sonic was exciting, but the real shock came when the camera panned out to reveal an entire group of them surrounding him. While Amy was able to take them down with ease, their sheer numbers indicate that Sonic 4 will see even more of these robotic threats. This is a major departure from most incarnations of Metal Sonic, where he is typically a lone antagonist. The confirmation of multiple Metal Sonics in Sonic 3 suggests that Sonic 4 won't need to introduce the full Metal series from the comics. In those stories, Eggman created a team of robotic clones, including Metal Tails, Metal Knuckles, and Metal Amy, all designed to take down their organic counterparts. While the concept was intriguing, the Metal series had a short lifespan in the comics, with most of them being destroyed after just a few issues. With Sonic 3 already establishing an army of Metal Sonics, there's little reason for Sonic 4 to explore the full Metal series lineup. The sheer number of Metal Sonics already ensures a massive challenge for Team Sonic, making additional robotic characters unnecessary. That being said, Metal Knuckles and Metal Tails would be easy to introduce, and they could add even more variety to the action sequences. If the movie wanted to go all in on the robotic theme, it could still find a way to include these variants. Regardless of how Sonic 4 handles the Metal Sonic army, one thing is clear: the stakes are continuing to rise. With the introduction of more super characters like Knuckles and the looming threat of an unstoppable robotic force, the franchise is heading into an exciting new chapter. The battle between organic and artificial life could be a major theme in Sonic 4, pushing Team Sonic to their limits in ways they've never experienced before. Bringing in Super Knuckles would be the perfect way to balance these escalating dangers. With Sonic and Shadow already having their super moments, giving Knuckles his time to shine would ensure that each main character gets a powerful upgrade. It would also help distinguish the fourth movie from its predecessors by introducing fresh, game-inspired elements that longtime fans will appreciate. And that's all we know about the upcoming movie. Thanks for watching, and if something more comes out, then you'll know it. We will keep you updated, so if you give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. But what do you think? Do you want to see Super Knuckles in Sonic 4, or should another character get the spotlight? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.
Just when fans thought Sonic 3 had wrapped up all the chaos, a massive leak has flipped everything upside down, revealing something nobody expected. And yes, it includes the moment fans have been waiting for: Sonic kissing Amy Rose. But how do we get there? That's where it gets wild. The story kicks off right after Sonic 3's post-credit scene. No time jump, no fluff, just straight into action. We find Sonic dazed and badly injured, trapped deep inside New York State Park. But before he can make sense of what just happened, multiple versions of Metal Sonic suddenly close in, ready to strike. And just when it looks like it's over for our blue blur, Amy Rose charges in. She fights off every last Metal Sonic copy, fierce, focused, and clearly on a mission. Sonic's left speechless, not just because of the rescue, but because he genuinely doesn't know what's going on. But that's just the beginning. As Sonic and Amy regroup, a familiar shadowy figure appears. Literally, Shadow the Hedgehog returns, standing tall and alive, somehow. After the explosion in Sonic 3, most assumed he was gone for good. But instead of a warm reunion, Shadow attacks. He thinks Sonic might be another fake, another Metal Sonic clone. The clash is intense, but Amy jumps in and stops it cold.
Whoa, are you guys seeing this?
So, how did Shadow survive? He finally explains. At the last second, he used chaos control to teleport himself to the moon. Yeah, the moon. But survival wasn't easy. He was ambushed by 15 Metal Sonic copies up there, left barely alive. That's when Amy found him. She helped him recover and gave him one chilling warning. We don't have much time. We have to go save Sonic. And trust me, what comes after that? It only gets more insane. Just when things were starting to settle, well, as much as they could after a lunar teleportation and a full-on Metal Sonic ambush, two more familiar faces dropped into the chaos, Knuckles and Tails. But don't expect a friendly reunion. They show up mid-confrontation, already tense and battle-worn. Their expressions say it all. They're suspicious of Shadow and completely thrown off by Amy's sudden appearance. And it's not just nerves. Knuckles and Tails reveal they were just ambushed by 5 Metal Sonic clones themselves. These weren't your average robots either. They moved like they were evolving, faster, smarter, and deadlier. Knuckles, normally calm and calculated, says he's never seen tech like this before. Tails, always the analyst, suspects something much deeper is at play. But what they didn't expect was what Amy dropped next. Amy finally steps up and drops the truth bomb that reframes everything. Metal Sonic wasn't just Eggman's latest toy. He wasn't even originally built by Eggman. Amy reveals that the real creator is Gerald Robotnik, Eggman's grandfather. That's right, the same scientist who created Shadow also created Metal Sonic, but not in this timeline. It gets crazier. According to Amy, when Eggman attempted to use something called the Forbidden 1,000-Year Death Jutsu, yes, that's the name, on Gerald, the chaos energy backfired. Instead of destroying him, it launched Gerald 200 years into the future. There, things took a dark turn. Gerald didn't end up alone. In the future, he encountered none other than Eggman Niga, a twisted variant of Eggman from another timeline. The two Robotniks joined forces, blending future tech with ancient chaos energy. Their goal? To create the ultimate being. That's how Metal Sonic was born, not as just one robot, but as a multi-dimensional weapon designed to take over every timeline. And that's when the final twist hits like a chaos blast. Amy explains that it's not just Eggman and Gerald anymore. The Robotnik trio, Gerald, Eggman, and Eggman Niga, are working together. Their plan? Erase Sonic across time. If they succeed in killing Sonic in the past, his current self, everything he's done, even the people he's saved, gone. Just like that. A total erasure.
Well, my friend Amy would say, talk to each other. But she's a little corny.
Now the stakes are higher than ever. Amy reveals her real role. She's not just a friend or fighter. She's the guardian of the timeline, chosen to stop the Robotnik trio and keep time itself from unraveling. And saving Sonic? That was just the beginning. What happens next will change everything the Sonic universe thought it knew. Because this war isn't just about speed anymore. It's about time. With the truth laid bare and the stakes higher than ever, Amy wastes no time. She opens a glowing, swirling ring of raw space-time, a chaos-infused portal that rips through reality. This isn't your standard warp ring. It's ancient, unstable, and specifically tuned to take them days into the past. The mission? Intercept the Robotnik trio's attack before it happens and change the course of history. The team steps through and lands right in the middle of one of the most iconic moments in Sonic history. Team Sonic's first encounter with Shadow, but something's off. History is repeating itself, but with a fatal twist. Metal Sonic wasn't there before, and now he's front and center, waiting. Before anyone can react, Metal Sonic ambushes Shadow, striking him down in seconds. Then he turns to the past version of Team Sonic and annihilates them. The battle is brutal, and before anyone can stop it, past Knuckles is killed in cold blood. Present Knuckles suddenly drops to his knees, screaming as time begins unraveling around him. His body flickers, pixelating and tearing apart like corrupted data. He's being erased. His past self's death is catching up with him. That's when Sonic snaps. Consumed by grief and fury, Sonic taps into a level of chaos power he's never accessed before. Supreme chaos control. His eyes glow pure white, his quills stand on edge, and everything stops. Time itself freezes. Not just slows, stops. With absolute precision, Sonic destroys 25 advanced Metal Sonic clones in frozen time, one by one, as if they were standing still. Then, with chaos energy radiating from every inch of him, he rewinds time to exactly 3 minutes. This time, he's ready. As the scene replays, Sonic intercepts Metal Sonic's first strike, shielding Shadow. Together, they unleash a synchronized counterattack, dismantling Metal Sonic's ambush and ensuring Knuckles survives. The past is saved. at least for now. But the timeline is far from stable. Back in the present, the team regroups, thinking they've won themselves a little breathing room. But that illusion vanishes fast. Tails' time radar starts beeping uncontrollably. There's a new anomaly. Something worse is coming. A vortex of future energy erupts nearby, and from it steps a figure they barely recognize at first. It's Silver the Hedgehog, older, battle-scarred, and dead serious. He introduces himself as the Captain of Time from the year 2225. His warning? Neo Metal Sonic isn't just evolving, he's adapting, learning from every timeline they touch. And if they don't act fast, this entire mission will collapse into a multi-temporal war that not even Supreme Chaos Control can fix.
Shadow, you're never going to get my power!
One mission saved a life, the next one might save the multiverse, or end it. The final battle begins as 37 Metal Sonic clones charge the team. Shadow and Silver put up a fierce fight, battling tooth and nail against the mechanical onslaught. But just when it seems like they might turn the tide, Neo Metal Sonic appears, more powerful than ever. He effortlessly steals and destroys their time travel rings, trapping them in a time loop with no way out. In a heart-stopping moment, he nearly kills Amy, causing Sonic to spiral into an emotional breakdown. Consumed by rage and desperation, Sonic undergoes an ultimate awakening. His power surges beyond anything he's ever known, and with a devastating burst of chaos energy, he freezes time completely. Shadow and Silver join him, and together they systematically annihilate 120 Metal Sonic clones in a flurry of chaos-infused attacks. But Neo Metal Sonic isn't done yet. He copies their powers, matching their strength blow for blow. The final battle rages on for a grueling 1.5 hours, each second more intense than the last. But in the end, Team Sonic emerges victorious. Neo Metal Sonic is destroyed, and the timeline is saved, for now. Amy is rushed to the hospital but survives thanks to Sonic's time-freezing ability. Silver and Amy find themselves stranded in the present as their time rings were destroyed in the fight. Meanwhile, Sonic begins training to master time travel, determined to bring them home. As the dust settles, flashbacks reveal a beautiful secret. Sonic and Amy are married in the future. Sonic, with a heartfelt kiss, confirms their deep love.
That's a neat trick.
What an intense ride, huh? From time travel to ultimate power-ups, Sonic 4 has it all. But the adventure doesn't end here. Could this be the start of even more mind-bending time travel escapades in Sonic 5? What do you think? Will Sonic and Amy's love story continue, or is there even greater chaos waiting around the corner? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more leaks, theories, and updates. See you in the next one. Imagine a world where Sonic falls for Amy, Eggman vanishes, and Metal Sonic takes over. Sounds wild, right? It's not just a theory anymore. Leaks and patterns from the franchise just gave us the clearest roadmap yet for the next Sonic trilogy. And if you thought Sonic 3 was the peak, what comes next will completely change how you see this universe. Stay with me, because what's coming is way bigger than you think. Let's start with what we do know. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 didn't just meet expectations, it smashed them. Critics finally started taking the franchise seriously, and fans, they're still buzzing. The third movie gave the franchise its boldest and most emotional entry yet, and the box office numbers through the roof. That kind of success doesn't just earn bragging rights, it guarantees sequels, so naturally Sonic 4 is on the way. But there's one big question everyone's been asking. What happens to Dr. Eggman? Jim Carrey, who nailed the role, has hinted at retirement. While nothing's been confirmed, the studio isn't taking chances. Eggman remains critical to the Sonic universe, and his absence, if it happens, might shake things up in a way we haven't seen before. But don't worry, they have a plan. Alright, here's where things start getting exciting. Sonic 4 isn't just a continuation, it's a reset. Think Sonic CD meets Sonic Heroes. The storyline is rumored to lean into time travel, multiple versions of Metal Sonic, and yes, the debut of Amy Rose. Now picture this. Metal Sonic becomes the central villain, not just one, but possibly multiple copies, threatening the fabric of time itself. With Eggman potentially stepping back, his loyal assistant Agent Stone could take a darker turn, filling the villain void with his agenda. The franchise might be grooming him for something way bigger. But here's where it flips everything you know. Sonic develops a crush on Amy. That's right, flipping the classic dynamic from the games where Amy's the one chasing him. It's a bold twist that could add real emotional depth to the movie, and possibly even some awkward, funny, or surprisingly heartfelt moments. As for the final battle, think of Metal Overlord as a possible climax, a callback to Sonic Heroes, only now on the big screen. And if you're wondering how they'll top that, just wait for the post-credits scene. A shadowy glimpse of chaos, the watery, godlike creature from Sonic Adventure. That tease alone sets the stage for something even bigger in in Sonic 5. Now, let's shift gears. While the movie storyline keeps fans on edge, the spin-off universe is expanding too. And one of the most anticipated projects, the Shadow the Hedgehog series. This one promises to dive into his dark, mysterious backstory. Think deep cuts into the lore. Black Doom, Rouge the Bat, E123 Omega, all possibly making appearances. It could pull inspiration from the 2005 Shadow the Hedgehog game, or even parts of Sonic Heroes. Either way, it's about to get a lot more serious and emotionally intense than anything we've seen in the main movies. And speaking of spin-offs, Knuckles isn't done yet. Season 2 is already being whispered about, and this time, it's all about the Master Emerald. Expect a treasure hunt-style adventure with mystical elements. And if rumors are true, Rouge the Bat may swoop in, stirring up drama with both Knuckles and Shadow. Together, these spin-offs are more than filler. They're laying the groundwork for the next trilogy. Characters introduced here will likely cross back into the main films, making the whole Sonic universe feel tighter, richer, and more interconnected than ever before. So, what does all this mean? The Sonic universe is gearing up for something massive, a 3-part arc that could rival any superhero franchise if it sticks the landing. From Amy and Metal Sonic in Sonic 4 to Shadow and Chaos in future entries, it's clear they're not just making movies anymore, they're building a legacy. Next up, we'll break down the Sonic 5 and 6 storylines, including that wild twist with Silver and Blaze. You won't want to miss it. Just when you thought Sonic's movie universe had peaked with the 3rd film, the next phase of the franchise is already gaining serious momentum. We're not talking spin-offs or random sequels. We're talking a planned trilogy packed with time travel, multiverse threats, iconic bosses, and emotional farewells. And if what's coming is anything like what we've already seen, Sonic fans better buckle up now that Metal Sonic and Amy Rose are set to dominate the 4th film. Sonic 5 aims to raise the stakes even higher by introducing a character fans have been waiting for, Chaos, the water-based guardian from Sonic Adventure 1. And no, he's not just showing up for a quick cameo. Chaos will be the central villain, unleashing destruction on a global scale. The plot revolves around a race to collect the scattered Chaos Emeralds, but this isn't your typical MacGuffin hunt. Think of it as a character-driven campaign, where each member of Sonic's crew embarks on their mission. This mirrors the structure of the Sonic Adventure game series, letting the story breathe through different perspectives. But here's the twist. The showdown isn't happening in some fictional town. It's happening right in New York City, replacing the in-game location of Station Square. Picture Chaos towering over skyscrapers, flooding Times Square, and Sonic and crew battling him across rooftops. It's chaotic, cinematic, and full of real-world impact. The ending? Emotional. Chaos is finally defeated, but at a massive cost. The Chaos Emeralds are destroyed to keep the world safe from future threats. No more power-ups, no more Super Sonic, at least for now. And just when the audience thinks it's all over, the post-credits scene flips everything. We see a dimensional rift open, and out come Silver and Blaze, reacting to the loss of the emeralds in their timeline. It's subtle, it's powerful, and it sets the stage for what may be the most ambitious Sonic movie yet. Alright, deep breath, because this one's bound to stir up opinions. Sonic Movie 6 is rumored to adapt elements from one of the most divisive games in franchise history, Sonic 06. But before you roll your eyes, let's clear something up. The movie version will strip away the awkward parts, most notably the human Princess Elise, and keep what fans like, the dark, multiversal story, and the introduction of Mephiles the Dark. In this version, Silver's role will be expanded, giving him a chance to shine as a full-fledged hero and not just a supporting sidekick. From a marketing perspective, this is gold. Silver completes the trio alongside Sonic and Shadow, bringing a fresh dynamic and aesthetic that sets him apart. The climax? A no-holds-barred battle against Mephiles, the shadowy villain who pushes the team to their limits. Expect emotional moments, dramatic betrayals, and possibly some time manipulation chaos. Interestingly, this 6th movie doesn't end with a tease. There's no post-credits scene, and that's intentional. It suggests that the franchise might take a well-earned break after this storyline. Not a cancellation, just a pause to prevent fatigue. That pause isn't just speculation, it might be necessary. Even die-hard fans can only handle so much, and there's growing concern that Sonic could fall into the same trap as the MCU's oversaturation problem. Releasing movie after movie and series after series can dilute the brand if there's no breathing room. That said, the creative team isn't running out of ideas. They're looking beyond numbered entries for future content. Think spin-offs like a Sonic Riders racing adventure, a cosmic journey through Sonic Colors, or even an intense dystopian war in a Sonic Forces-style film, where Eggman wins, at least for a while. But with all that potential, there's also a warning. Not every Sonic story needs to be told back-to-back. Sometimes letting fans miss the character is exactly what keeps the hype alive. And if the studio plays it smart, they'll know when to hit pause and when to go full speed. Whether you're in it for the fast-paced action, the nostalgia, or the character arcs that somehow hit you in the feels, this next trilogy could be the defining moment of Sonic's cinematic legacy. And with Chaos, Mephiles, Silver, and Blaze all stepping into the spotlight, there's no doubt the franchise is entering its most ambitious chapter yet. But what do you think? Should Sonic take a break after the 6th movie, or keep pushing forward with bold new stories? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe, because next time we're diving into the Shadow the Hedgehog Hedgehog spin-off, and trust me, that one's going to be wild. Let's face it, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 set the bar pretty high with the introduction of characters like Amy Rose and Metal Sonic in its post-credits scene. But with Sonic the Hedgehog 4 already confirmed to be in the works, fans are buzzing about which other iconic characters could make the leap from video game lore to the big screen. From time-traveling hedgehogs to chaos-powered deities, there are a bunch of characters who've been long overdue for a live-action spotlight. So, let's count down the top 5 characters we think need to show up next. Starting off with number 5, we have Chaos, a fan-favorite villain who brings way more than just brute strength. Introduced in Sonic Adventure, Chaos used to be the guardian of the Master Emerald, living peacefully among the cow. But everything changed when the echidnas attacked, hurting the Chow and pushing Chaos into a vengeful rampage. With the power of the Chaos Emeralds, he wiped out the echidnas and earned the terrifying nickname God of Destruction. Because Sonic the Hedgehog 3 already referenced the Chow, there's a real opportunity here to dive deeper into that mythology. And even though Chaos doesn't speak, his presence alone, paired with that tragic backstory, could bring a lot of emotional weight to the next movie. Sure, it's unclear how he'd fit into a plot already featuring Amy and Metal Sonic, but even a post-credits tease could set him up for a full-blown appearance in Sonic 5. Now moving on. To number 4 is one of Sonic's most chilling villains, Mephiles the Dark. This character, who first showed up in the 2006 Sonic the Hedgehog game, is essentially evil incarnate. Once part of the sun god Solaris, Mephiles took the form of Shadow and set out to destroy time and space. What makes him truly scary isn't just his powers, but his sadistic personality. He doesn't want to rule. He wants total annihilation. Even though his debut game wasn't well received, Mephiles stood out thanks to his haunting presence and deep connection to Shadow. He plays on Shadow's anger and tempts him with the promise of revenge, making him the ultimate dark mirror. Now that Shadow has been introduced in Sonic 3, bringing in Mephiles feels like the next logical and awesome step. He's the closest thing the Sonic universe has to the devil, and it's about time he got his due. Coming next on number 3 is Neo Metal Sonic. If Metal Sonic is going to be a major player in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, then why stop there? Let him evolve into Neo Metal Sonic. This upgraded version made his debut in Sonic Heroes, where he didn't just copy Sonic, he copied the skills of all his allies, including Shadow. With those powers, he eventually transformed into the monstrous Metal Overlord, a dragon-like kaiju that could go head-to-head with Sonic and his crew. So, why does this matter now? Because Sonic 3 didn't have a huge final boss like BioLizard, which fans were hoping for. Including Neo Metal Sonic would be the perfect way to deliver that kind of high-stakes showdown. Plus, writers Pat Casey and Josh Miller, who've been behind every Sonic film so far, have teased wanting to explore more characters. Now that Sonic 3 has been so well received, with an 87% score on Rotten Tomatoes, they've got the freedom to go big in Sonic 4. One of the most iconic showdowns in Sonic history has to be the high-stakes race between Sonic and Metal Sonic in Stardust Speedway. This flashy, neon-lit cityscape, ruled by Dr. Eggman in Sonic CD, set the perfect stage for an intense, high-speed duel near the end of the game. Sonic and his robotic double dashed along the winding highways of this electric metropolis, turning the whole thing into one of the most memorable moments in the franchise. What makes this level stand out even more is the soundtrack. The theme song from Stardust Speedway didn't just match the energy, it became one of those classic Sonic tracks that fans still rave about today. So if Sonic the Hedgehog 4 wants to truly tap into that nostalgic magic, bringing Stardust Speedway to life on the big screen would be the way to do it. Next up at number 2, we have Silver the Hedgehog, a character who had a rough start. He first appeared in the same 2006 game as Mephiles, and while that game was a flop, Silver's story actually had potential. He's a time-traveling warrior from a ruined future who comes back to stop it from happening. That alone makes him a great addition to the franchise. Silver also has powerful psychokinetic abilities, making him one of the few who could actually match Sonic or Shadow in a fight. And considering Sonic CD, a game also involving time travel, might influence the story of Sonic 4, introducing Silver could make total sense. Bringing him into the live-action universe could help reframe his character and give fans the version of Silver they've always wanted. And now for number 1, Rouge the Bat. Fans have been waiting for her live-action debut for quite some time, and honestly, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 feels like the perfect moment to finally make it happen. First introduced in Sonic Adventure 2, Rouge is a jewel thief, a government spy, and a character who operates right in that gray area between hero and villain. She's smart, smooth-talking, and always has her own agenda, even when she's technically helping the good guys. But Rouge isn't just interesting because of her attitude. She also has solid ties to major characters already in the films.
To the no play. I say we pirates. Well, you know how the saying goes, Rose. Dead men tell no tales.
Her history with Shadow runs deep. There's mutual trust there. And in the games, she's one of the only people he actually opens up to. Then, there's her ongoing rivalry with Knuckles, which usually revolves around the Master Emerald. That storyline is already part of the movie universe, so adding Rogue to the mix would instantly stir up some tension and fun. The writers behind the Sonic films have even admitted in interviews that they've tried to include Rogue in previous movies but couldn't find the right moment. Now that both Shadow and Knuckles are established and active in the story, the timing finally makes sense. Whether she's stealing jewels, spying on enemies, or complicating alliances, Rouge brings a whole new energy to the team. In the comics, especially Archie and IDW's Sonic the Hedgehog runs, Rouge is often portrayed as one of the most resourceful characters in the cast. She's not just there for glamour or comic relief. She's physically strong. She can knock someone out with a single kick, an expert in stealth, and incredibly skilled in hand-to-hand combat. Her most notable power is her ability to fly using her bat wings, which gives her both agility in combat and that classic rooftop thief mystique. In many storylines, she plays double-agent roles, sometimes working for GUN, the Guardian Units of Nations, while secretly keeping her own goals in mind. She's also shown real growth across both the games and comics. She isn't heartless. While Rouge can be selfish and opportunistic, she often chooses to help her allies when it matters most, especially Shadow. Her loyalty may be unpredictable, but it's never shallow. That kind of moral complexity is exactly what the Sonic movie franchise needs right now as it expands its world beyond straightforward hero versus villain setups. Even if Rouge doesn't play a massive role in Sonic the Hedgehog 4, just teasing her in a post-credit scene would keep up the franchise tradition and build serious hype for the next chapter. The first movie teased Tails, the second revealed Shadow, and the third brought in Amy and Metal Sonic, so it's only natural that Rouge gets her spotlight next. But while we're talking about expanding the world of Sonic, there's something else the movies have barely scratched the surface of: outer space. Even though Sonic has those teleporting rings that can send him just about anywhere, the films have mostly stayed grounded on Earth. Aside from Earth and a couple of other quick glimpses, we haven't really gotten a look at the rest of the universe that Sonic's part of, and that feels like a missed opportunity. Because let's face it, this is a huge universe we're talking about. Sonic's Safe Worlds map hints at so many different realms and alien planets, and the films haven't really gone beyond that. So now that the cinematic universe is picking up steam, it's the perfect time to push beyond Earth. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 could break that pattern and finally show us what's out there. Not only would it shake up the setting in an exciting way, but it would also make room to introduce a bunch of new anthropomorphic characters from the games who haven't had their moment in the spotlight yet. At this point, Sonic 4 has a golden opportunity to push the universe to new heights. With Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles already at the center, and Shadow ready for a deeper arc, it's time to bring in characters with more layered motivations. Whether it's the chaos-fueled rage of Chaos, the manipulative danger of Mephiles, the powerhouse upgrade of Neo Metal Sonic, or the sleek, unpredictable energy of Rouge and Silver, the possibilities are endless. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. What if I told you Sonic might be unlocking powers we've never seen before? Ones that could change everything we thought we knew about him. Yeah, Sonic Movie 4 might just blow the roof off. But before we even get to that, let's talk about what set the stage. Sonic Movie 3 is already smashing expectations. Critics didn't just like it, they called it one of Paramount's best animated projects to date. The box office is glowing, fans are buzzing, and the hype off the charts. But that success brings one tricky challenge for the writers. How do you handle powers when the characters have so many? And it starts with Shadow. If you've ever played the games, you know his abilities are wildly different depending on the title. The writers only have 2 hours. So, which version of Shadow are we getting? In Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow's all about speed and raw chaos energy, chaos control, chaos spear, you name it. Jump to Sonic Heroes, and now he's slowing time and launching infernos. By Sonic 2005, he's hopping into vehicles and even wielding swords. And let's not forget Sonic 06 or Generations, where he's snapping through time and space like it's nothing. See the problem? Fans want accuracy, action, and nostalgia, but too much power crammed into one movie could overwhelm. So now, the question is, will Sonic outshine Shadow in Sonic 4, or is Shadow about to steal the spotlight? We've got the answers, and trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Just when you think Shadow's power list is already overflowing, the spotlight starts shifting straight back to Sonic, and trust me, the blue blur isn't about to be left in the dust. If what we're hearing about Sonic Movie 4 is true, he's leveling up like never before. Let's talk about Hypersonics. That's not just another glow-up from Supersonic. Sonic. It's a full transformation. Imagine Sonic with a blinding rainbow aura, moving faster than light itself, creating shockwaves with every step and shrugging off damage like it's nothing. In the games, Hypersonic was rare, but in the movie, it might be the ace up his sleeve against Shadow's chaos-fueled attacks, and it doesn't stop there. Sonic might also master chaos control, but here's the twist. Without even using an emerald, that means freezing time, warping through dimensions, and maybe even healing instantly, all on command. If Shadow made chaos control look cool, Sonic's version could redefine it. But wait, there's more. This time, Sonic isn't just fast. He's getting elemental, introducing Electrosonic, a form that doesn't just boost his speed, but surrounds him with surges of lightning. One touch, you're zapped. One dash, a lightning storm. Then comes Inferno Sonic, aka Fire Sonic. His movements leave behind flaming trails, and when he spins up, it's like watching a living tornado of fire. And finally, Glacier Sonic. This icy form lets him freeze enemies in their tracks, coat environments in frost, and even shatter obstacles with ice-enhanced strikes. It's Sonic like you've never seen him, fusing power with precision. Now here's where things get truly wild. Sonic's speed has always left behind after images, but what if those after images weren't just shadows anymore? Enter the Sonic Echo clone. These ghost-like doubles don't just follow him, they fight with him. Multi-angle attacks, group takedowns, pure chaos for enemies trying to track the real one. It's a mind-bending twist that could change every fight scene. Sonic 4 isn't just setting up a showdown, it's evolving the entire game. The battle won't just be about who's stronger, but who's smarter, faster, and more in sync with their powers. The question now is, if both Sonic and Shadow are unlocking new forms, who's going to come out on top? If you thought Hypersonic was pushing the limits, think again. Sonic's power-up train doesn't stop there. Enter the next level, Cosmic Speed Burst. It isn't just about going faster, it's about rewriting what speed even means. In this state, Sonic doesn't just move fast. He phases through solid objects, warps space around him, and every step triggers a sonic boom strong enough to crack mountains. His trails don't glow. They leave behind stardust, shimmering like he just sprinted through the fabric of the universe itself. It's not speed, it's straight-up dimensional warping, and it gets crazier. Sonic may also be tapping into something way deeper, energy constructs. Yeah, we're talking full-blown chaos energy manipulation. Picture Sonic not just using his fists, but creating weapons out of raw energy, like swords, whips, and even projectile cannons, all forged mid-fight. Need a shield? He can throw up barriers or domes in the heat of battle. Need to leap into the sky without terrain? Mid-air platforms appear with a flick of his hand. This opens the door to insane combat sequences. Think Doctor Strange meets Dragon Ball, but with rings and chili dogs. But none of this compares to what could be Sonic's final, ultimate form, true blue overdrive. This isn't just an upgrade, it is a fusion, combining Hypersonic's rainbow-fueled chaos with raw chaos control mastery. The result? A form that breaks every rule. We're talking reality manipulation, time-bending speed, and the ability to fire massive energy beams that look like they could rip open the sky. This form turns Sonic into a force of nature. He's not just outrunning missiles, he's rewriting where those missiles even go. One moment, he's a blur. The next, the battlefield changes entirely. Enemies don't just lose, they lose track of where and when Sonic even is. It's the kind of transformation you'd expect at the very peak of the series, maybe in a moment where the fate of entire realities hangs in the balance. And with Shadow ramping up his arsenal, it seems inevitable that this god-tier version of Sonic will have to make an appearance. So now the stage is set. We've gone from simple speed and spin dashes to dimensional chaos, energy constructs, and reality-bending overdrive modes. Sonic Movie 4 is shaping up to be more than just a sequel. It could be the most explosive, power-packed entry in the franchise yet. But all of these mind-blowing powers don't just fall into Sonic's lap. According to recent leaked plot details, the heart of Sonic Movie 4 won't just be flashy battles. It'll be how Sonic earns his power. And it starts with a crushing defeat. Sonic comes face to face with Metal Sonic early on, and this time, he's outmatched. No supersonic transformation, no chaos control tricks, just raw, mechanical brutality. And Sonic? He loses, badly. That's when Knuckles steps in. In a rare moment of calm strategy, Knuckles drops a bombshell. There's something even older than the Master Emerald, something lost to time. The Lost Emerald Shards. These ancient fragments were scattered across Mobius long before any of the Chaos Emeralds were even discovered. Each one is said to hold a unique elemental power, designed not just for strength, but for adaptability. Tails digs into his archives. Knuckles deciphers forgotten glyphs. And Sonic? He hits the road on a global quest across Mobius to locate the shards. It isn't just a treasure hunt, it's a growth journey. Each shard comes with trials, enemies, and personal challenges that force Sonic to push past his limits. And what do these shards do? Let's break it down, one by one. The Crimson Shard unlocks a fire trail that scorches everything in Sonic's path. It also gives him a mid-air flame burst, letting him detonate explosions mid-dash. Next, the Azure Shard. This one is all about agility. It allows Sonic to phase through attacks, almost ghost-like. And yes, he can run on water, leaving a glowing trail like a living comet. Then comes the Emerald Shard, which amplifies kinetic energy. Sonic gains the ability to release shockwave bursts, slamming the ground and knocking back entire armies with a single stomp. And finally, the Obsidian Shard, arguably the most intense. It manipulates gravity itself, allowing Sonic to launch himself at blistering velocities, breaking the sound barrier mid-air for devastating impacts. With all 4 shards collected, Sonic's transformation is unlike anything we've seen before, and just in time, because Eggman isn't done. Using stolen tech and chaos energy, Metal Sonic undergoes a terrifying upgrade. He evolves into the Metal Overlord, a towering cybernetic monster powered by Eggman's most twisted inventions. Sonic isn't just fighting a rival anymore, he's battling a walking superweapon. The showdown is chaos in motion. Sonic unleashes his Fire Dash, melting through Metal Overlord's defenses like butter. When missiles fly his way, he shifts into Aqua Shift mode, sliding between blasts like a liquid blur. Then comes the secret weapon, Chaos, PSE, a pulse that directly disrupts Metal Overlord's AI, causing glitches and misfires mid-fight. And to finish it, Sonic launches into the sky, gravity surging around him, and comes crashing down in a devastating chaos impact. But it doesn't end there. For the finale, Sonic taps into everything he's learned, all the chaos, the shards, the hypersonic speed, and initiates the Hyperspeed Chaos Vortex, a swirling storm of raw energy, time distortion, and elemental fury that envelops Metal Overlord and crushes him from every angle. The screen goes white, silence, then boom. It's not just a win, it's a symbol that even the fastest being alive still has more to learn, more to grow, and more to protect. Now that you know what's coming, which power-up excites you most? Does the shard idea fit Sonic's evolution? What would you add to Sonic Movie 4? Share in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit the bell. More wild Sonic updates, leaks, and theories are coming. Until then, stay fast.
The Sonic franchise has always been a great example of media that's meant for pretty much everyone. With so many characters, heroes, and villains alike, spread across all kinds of games, shows, and now movies, it's no wonder there's a bunch of fans who love each and every one of them. That being said, Paramount's films have taken a more focused approach so far, sticking to just a small circle of characters and making sure they get plenty of screen time and solid story arcs. The first movie centered entirely around Sonic adjusting to life on Earth, but once the sequel came around, things expanded fast. That's when we got to meet 2 of Sonic's biggest allies, Knuckles and Tails. By the time the third movie rolled around, the trio had formed what's now known as Team Sonic, and they've pretty much taken center stage since then. Fans have really embraced this trio because their personalities bounce off each other in fun and meaningful ways. Most of the comedy and memorable moments come from their banter and teamwork, which highlights exactly why they make such a great team, and why keeping them together has paid off so well for the franchise. But Team Sonic isn't the only trio worth talking about. In fact, the Sonic universe has introduced a bunch of other teams over the years, especially in the games. Some of these groups could bring something fresh and fun to future films. So, with Sonic 4 on the horizon, now's a great time to look at some of the other trios from the franchise that deserve a shot at joining the action on the big screen. Let's start with Team Rose. With Sonic 3 done and fans eagerly waiting for what comes next, speculation is already running wild. Everyone expected Shadow to show up, and he did, but a lot of fans were also hoping to see Amy Rose. She's been a major figure in the Sonic world, especially when it comes to storylines involving Dr. Robotnik, so it would have made sense for her to appear. Unfortunately, she didn't show up during the main events of the film or the final battle against Shadow. But all hope wasn't lost. Amy did show up during the mid-credit scene, saving Sonic from a swarm of evil robots. That short moment was enough to send fans into a frenzy, and it's clear her popularity hasn't faded at all. It's been confirmed that Amy will be in Sonic 4, and from the way things are shaping up, it looks like she'll have a fairly important role. There's even a good chance she'll team up with Team Sonic throughout most of the story. Still, Sonic's core group has always worked best as a trio, so adding Amy permanently could change that dynamic. Instead of squeezing her into an already tight group, it would make more sense to introduce her original team, Team Rose, which gives her more people to interact with and keeps the film's group dynamics feeling natural. Team Rose includes Big the cat and Cream the rabbit, and the three of them originally came together while searching for missing friends. They weren't exactly the type to go looking for a fight, but when they teamed up, they learned how to work as a unit and even helped Sonic out against Robotnik. Big and Cream aren't fighters by nature, they prefer peaceful lives. Cream's closest companion is a chow named Cheese, and Big is happiest when he's fishing with his buddy Froggy, but when a friend's in trouble, they'll step up. Their personalities couldn't be more different from Amy's. She's bold and headstrong, while the others are more quiet and gentle. But that contrast is exactly what makes them fun to watch. Amy could easily be the one to push them into action if the situation calls for it. Next up is Team Dark. Since Sonic 3 gave Shadow a good chunk of development time and wrapped up a big part of his personal story, his original team didn't get a chance to appear. But in the games, Team Dark has always been a fascinating group because they don't fall into the classic good or bad categories. They're more complicated than that. The group is led by Rouge the Bat, who's a treasure hunter and sometimes government agent. She's known for being sly, skilled in combat, and capable of working both with heroes and villains if it benefits her. Despite being driven by personal goals, she's the one who kickstarted Team Dark in Sonic Heroes. That happened after she infiltrated one of Robotnik's bases and accidentally released a dormant shadow from stasis, alongside E123 Omega, one of Robotnik's rogue creations. The three of them were about to throw down, but Rouge proposed a temporary alliance to take on Robotnik. Now, in the movies, Shadow might come across as a lone wolf, but he's shown before that he can work with others when needed. Even if Sonic 3 ended with him still keeping his distance from Sonic, there's room for him to develop new bonds in Sonic 4, especially with characters like Rouge or Omega, who are nothing like the people from his past. Moving on, let's talk about the quirky and lovable Team Chaotix. They're kind of the oddballs of the Sonic universe, running a detective agency that's more chaotic than professional. The group is made up of Vector the Crocodile, Espio the Chameleon, and Charmy Bee. They may not be involved in every world-ending event like Team Sonic is, but when push comes to shove, they're more than willing to step in and help. Even though they usually play more of a background role in the games, they could be a fun side presence in the films. Their personalities are goofy and exaggerated in the best way, and their dynamic adds a lighter, more comedic touch. Plus, their detective skills could be a clever way to move the plot forward. Maybe they help Team Sonic track down someone or uncover something important. And for longtime fans of the games, seeing Chaotix pop up, even briefly, would be a real treat. Lastly, we've got the Babylon Rogues, who are probably the least likely trio to show up, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't. These characters originally come from the Sonic Riders series, which focused on racing and futuristic hoverboards. The Rogues are a team of avian thieves, with Jet the Hawk as the leader, Wave the Swallow as the tech genius, and Storm the Albatross as the muscle. They're descendants of ancient sky pirates, and even though the racing angle might not carry over into the films, there's room for them to show up as high-speed treasure hunters chasing after the Chaos Emeralds. Their style, backstory, and gear would definitely make for some visually cool scenes, and their group dynamic has enough edge and rivalry to keep things interesting. What makes Sonic such a special franchise is how deep the bench of characters really is. There are so many possible allies and enemies that could enter the story at any moment, so even if Sonic 4 focuses on Amy and Metal Sonic, there's always a chance we'll see some of these other trios appear down the line, and hopefully on the big screen. Speaking of Sonic 4, a popular theory going around right now suggests that the movie might take place in the future. That idea comes largely from Sonic CD, the 1993 game that introduced both Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. Not only did that game introduce those characters, but it also played with the concept of time travel. So even though the film likely won't copy the game beat for beat, borrowing that time travel idea could be a smart way to bring something new to the story. Supporting this theory, there's concept art from Sonic 3 showing Eggman as a ruler of some kind of futuristic city, standing beside Metal Sonic. Amy also appears in that same futuristic setting. On top of that, Metal Sonic's entrance in Sonic 3 felt like a direct nod to the Terminator, another story about a robot traveling through time. If Sonic really does end up in the future, it's possible we won't see as much of familiar faces like Tails, Knuckles, Tom, or Maddie. Especially if Sonic ends up in the future by accident, it wouldn't be easy for his friends to follow. That doesn't mean they won't be in the movie at all, but they might play smaller roles. It's even possible that futuristic versions of them could appear, but they may not be the same characters we've grown used to. Oddly enough, cutting back on these characters could help the movie in the long run. One of the challenges the Sonic films have faced is trying to juggle too many major characters at once. Every time a new character is added, like Tails, Knuckles, and now Amy, it gets tougher to make sure each one feels important. Some of them can end up getting lost in the shuffle. So if Sonic 4 focuses mainly on Amy, Metal Sonic, and a future setting, it might give the story more breathing room. It gives Amy a proper introduction, lets Metal Sonic play a significant role, and gives Sonic a clear reason to want to return home, to reunite with the friends and family he had to leave behind. All in all, there's no shortage of exciting directions Sonic 4 can take. Whether it's about Amy becoming a bigger part of Sonic's life, Metal Sonic posing a major threat, or the possibility of introducing teams like Rose, Dark, Chaotix, or the Babylon Rogues, there's a lot of potential for new stories. And if the films continue expanding the world while staying true to the heart of what made the games so loved, then the franchise is only going to get better from here. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. We all know one thing, that somehow Dr. Robotnik will find a way back to Sonic. And with Sonic the Hedgehog 4 officially in the works, we are excited to see what kind of wild villain Sonic and his team will take on next. Sonic 3 left us with a bunch of questions, especially after those electrifying post-credit scenes where Metal Sonic and Amy Rose were introduced. While it's clear that Metal Sonic is going to be a major threat in the next chapter, the bigger mystery is, who's really behind it all? Up until now, Dr. Robotnik has been the face of evil in the Sonic film universe. But with his apparent sacrifice in Sonic 3, we're left wondering who's going to step up as the next big villain. That brings us to the obvious question. Is Robotnik really gone? Let's be real here. In a franchise like Sonic, death doesn't exactly mean someone's out of the picture for good. He survived the ending of Sonic 2 against all odds, so there's every chance he managed to cheat death once again in Sonic 3, especially since we never actually saw his body after that massive explosion. It's entirely possible that he survived or was even rescued by Shadow. So, don't be shocked if he shows up again in Sonic 4. After all, Robotnik is too smart and too slippery to be taken out that easily. He could have even faked his death as part of a bigger plan. If he is still alive, Sonic 4 might reveal that he's the mastermind controlling Metal Sonic from behind the scenes, hiding out somewhere, and pulling the strings. That theory would definitely give the story a strong connection to the earlier films, and set the stage for an epic comeback. But what if Robotnik isn't behind it all? Well, let's talk about the most straightforward possibility: Metal Sonic as the central villain. It's simple, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. In the post-credit scene of Sonic 3, we saw an army of Metal Sonics are attacking, and while someone could be controlling them, there's also a chance that Metal Sonic has gained a mind of his own. In the games, Robotnik created him, but Metal Sonic eventually broke free and started acting independently, trying to take Sonic's place. So in Sonic 4, we could see a version of Metal Sonic who doesn't need a boss anymore. He's calling the shots and aiming to rule the world. Still, there's another theory that might hold even more weight. Agent Stone stepping into the role of the next villain. He's been Robotnik's right-hand man for years, fiercely loyal and maybe even a little obsessed with his boss. Now that Robotnik's gone, Stone might try to carry on his legacy. He likely has access to Robotnik's blueprints and hidden tech, which means he could have been the one to kickstart the Metal Sonic army. If that's the case, we're looking at a pretty interesting shift. Stone, who was always more of a background character, could suddenly become one of the franchise's major players by stepping into the spotlight as the new villain. But the theories don't stop there. Let's not forget GUN, the Guardian Units of Nations, which was introduced in Sonic 2 as a government agency keeping tabs on superpowered threats. They played a big role in Sonic 3, especially with the whole Shadow subplot. Some fans believe that GUN could actually be the real enemy in Sonic 4, maybe even the ones who created Metal Sonic as a way to keep beings like Sonic under control. While that twist wouldn't be completely unexpected, it would definitely open up some interesting storytelling paths. Then again, what if the villain in Sonic 4 isn't someone we've met yet, but rather someone entirely new, like Eggman Niga? This character is known in the games as a future descendant of Dr. Robotnik, one who is far more dangerous, colder, and intelligent. Unlike the goofy charm that Robotnik, especially Jim Carrey's version, brings, Eggman Niga is calculated and ruthless. If Robotnik really is out of the picture, Niga could have been waiting in the wings for the right moment to emerge. Imagine if he's the one behind the Metal Sonic creations, using future tech to bring his plans to life. And speaking of Jim Carrey, many fans would love to see him return, and having him play Eggman Niga could be a brilliant move. It would allow Carrey to bring a new twist to the villain role, keeping the energy but swapping the silliness for something a bit darker. It also helps that in the films, Robotnik's backstory has been kind of vague. He didn't even know about Gerald or Maria until Sonic 3, so the door is wide open to introduce more of the Robotnik bloodline. But what if we go even deeper into the lore? Some fans think Mephiles the Dark might show up. This is a character from the 2006 Sonic the Hedgehog game, known for his mysterious, manipulative nature. He twists events behind the scenes, causing chaos and destruction. There's a theory floating around that Mephiles could have influenced Metal Sonic to rebel, and maybe even pushed other characters, like Shadow or Amy Rose, toward betrayal. If that turns out to be true, we might see Shadow fall into a villain role in Sonic 4, at least temporarily. And speaking of Amy Rose, her appearance in the post-credits scene of Sonic 3 has sparked a whole new set of theories. She swoops in at the last second with her iconic hammer to help defeat the Metal Sonics. But some fans suspect there's more going on with her. Could she be the real mastermind behind everything? It's a wild idea, but there's speculation that maybe Amy's been manipulated, or even experimented on, perhaps by Metal Sonic or someone else, leading her to turn against Sonic. Some fans are even floating the idea that Amy is the one who created the Metal Sonic army, maybe out of a warped sense of justice or revenge. While that might be a stretch, it's not out of the realm of possibility, especially if the filmmakers want to surprise the audience with a huge twist. No matter who the villain turns out to be, Sonic 4 is shaping up to change the game. It looks like the next movie will dive deeper into the lore, raise the stakes, and possibly lead into an even bigger showdown in Sonic 5. The possibilities are endless, and fans are already theorizing who might take the spotlight next. One thing a lot of people are excited about is the idea that Sonic 4 might involve time travel. That theory's getting more traction because both Amy and Metal Sonic made their first appearances in Sonic CD, a game famous for its time travel elements. That game used time stones to shift between past and future versions of the same level, and now that those two characters are being brought into the movie universe, it's easy to see the connection. It gets even more interesting when you consider concept art from Sonic 3, which shows what looks like a futuristic city ruled by Metal Sonic alongside a version of Robotnik. That imagery alone has fans speculating that time travel could be central to the next movie's plot. There's also Metal Sonic's dramatic entrance in Sonic 3, which some say was inspired by the Terminator, light, smoke, and all, which only fuels the sci-fi vibe. If Sonic 4 does go down the time travel route, then we have to talk about Silver the Hedgehog. Introduced in the 2006 game, Silver comes from a dystopian future where he's tricked into thinking Sonic caused the devastation, so he travels back in time to try and stop it. Over time, he became a solid ally of Team Sonic. Because of his origin and storyline, Silver is closely tied to time travel. So, if Sonic 4 leans heavily into this theme, it makes sense that Silver might be introduced soon. But here's the thing, Silver's story is pretty big, and shoving him into Sonic 4 along with Amy and Metal Sonic might be a little much. The franchise already has a tendency to introduce a lot of new characters at once, and it risks losing focus if it tries to do too much in one film. That's why some fans think it would be smarter to save Silver for Sonic 5, giving him more room to shine and a proper story arc instead of being squeezed into an already packed cast. In the end, Sonic 4 is already looking like a major turning point for the franchise. Whether Robotnik returns, Agent Stone takes the lead, or someone entirely new like Eggman Niga steps up, the stakes are clearly being raised. The inclusion of Metal Sonic and Amy Rose, the possibility of time travel, and the ever-present question of who's really pulling the strings, all of it promises an exciting and unpredictable ride. So, who do you think will be the true villain of Sonic 4? Could it be a returning face like Robotnik, or someone completely new? Or maybe it'll be a mix of all these theories, with layers of betrayal, manipulation, and time-warping chaos? One thing's for sure, Sonic 4 has all the makings of a bold, game-changing sequel, and we're all eager to see where it goes next. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.